William Bartlett, thank you for being here.
Of course. Glad to be here.
I want to begin by telling everybody how I came upon your work and what it made me feel, and then let's take it from there.
All right.
Okay. So the first time I saw a piece of yours was here at the Ardest Gallery. All right. So shout out to Julie. Thanks for letting us use the gallery here today. I believe it was, I don't remember the name of the show, but I believe you had two pieces in it.
Yes. But yeah, I had two pieces. One was big, 60 by 60.
Okay. Not 60 by 60.
36 by 36.
Okay, right.
And then I had another one.
You had a long, skinny one.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so, and they were, one of them was mixed media. I mean, the long, skinny one was the one that immediately caught my eye. When I saw it, I said, ooh, I got to sit here and look at this. Because there was a lot of layers to it. And we can always show a picture here so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But that piece grabbed me. And I remember I sat there and I was looking at it for a while. And Julie was here. And Julie came up and she said, oh, yeah, you would like William. I was like, I do. I'm a fan already. And there was a couple of things. I tried to write some things down of what I felt when I saw your stuff. This is what that first piece made me feel. And then ever since that, everything that I've seen you do has made me feel these things. Like, and I'm just going to name off some words here and see how this resonates with you.
All right.
I felt redemption, restoration, experience, like been in the world, had some real stuff going on there. Grace, I felt like the story was a feel-good story. Even though some of the images are macabre in nature, kind of dark, there always seems to be like this hint of success at the end of it. So that's what your work made me feel. And we're sitting in front of some of your pieces right now. So I'd like to hear how you would explain your work. How would you explain it to people?
So you're pretty spot on with your assessment, right? And that's my goal always with every piece that I do. I want to convey the emotion that I'm trying to get across, but more importantly, an emotional reaction in the person enjoying the piece. And so if I can get a viewer who is looking at one of my pieces doesn't have to be the same emotion that I was trying to get across or that I was feeling while I made the piece, but just to feel emotion. I feel like we live in a society nowadays that people tend to hide their emotions, especially emotions that might make you feel vulnerable or, like some people would say, weak. But I feel like it's very important to feel your emotions fully, accept them, and validate your own feelings. And because if you don't take the time to go through the emotions that you're having, however tough it may be to go through or experience, then you're not going to grow. And so it's kind of every piece I make is very reflective in some way, either vaguely or very specifically, a representation of my life. And like you said, there was a lot of pain in the past, but there's been a lot of growth since then. And a lot of my pieces are very macabre in nature, and it's probably because since I was a kid, I really liked macabre comic books and just real dark art. There's this old book called Scary Stories, To Tell in the Dark.
Okay.
It's this old scary story book from when I was a kid. They would have it in the school library, which surprised me because it's pretty dark. Really scary stories. But the artist that illustrated that book had real dark, scary, spooky drawings in it. And it heavily influenced me as a kid. And so all of my influences, they're very much in my pieces. And so the artists that I really like the most are artists that use their emotion.
Yeah.
And so when you see it, you can feel the emotion they're trying to get across. And so that specific piece is a lot of that emotion of having a rough past, having grown from it, having forgiven yourself. A lot of my pieces are different stages of my life that I was in. So, for example, there might be a piece that is referring to when I was really deep in the toughest parts of my life. And then others are, a little bit more positive, a little bit more hopeful. The success of having conquered things that were breaking me down or mistakes that I have made in the past that I had taken a long time to forgive myself for. So every piece that I make, I want to send that message out, that especially for people who are in a situation that they feel like there's no way out. They see the piece, they're like, well, this guy made it, maybe I can make it.
Right.
And also, more specifically, art is very cathartic for me.
Amen. Yeah.
And so I also really want to spread that awareness that one way you can deal with your emotions or whatever problems you may be having is finding a hobby, finding something artistic in nature, and it doesn't have to be visual art on canvas. It can be music, anything that helps you as a cathartic experience to process these emotions that you might be having or problems that you're going through. And it really, really helps.
When did you discover that? Did you discover that as a child?
So me personally, I've been drawing and doing artwork ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
Kind of runs in the family. My grandma was an artist, a lot of landscape art. My dad is an artist, and he was very more into realism, and he's really good at it. And then and he's practiced with some watercolors too, and some charcoal and pencil. And then I just really picked it up as a kid, wanting to be like them both, and I just practiced a lot as a kid, filling sketchbooks out cover to cover, just drawing human figures was my favorite.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and just getting it down. There was times in my life, early 20s, that I wanted it to be realistic as well, hyper-realism. But then I got bored of that after a while, and then my personal taste kind of evolved to something a little bit more different and more expressive. And
Yeah, the expressive, you touched on that because that's definitely in everything. I mean, there's a lot of expression. In fact, I think they call it neo-expressionism, right?
Yes.
That style of painting, or that's your style that you do.
it's the modern version of expressionism.
Okay, yeah. So it's like brought back, but it looks way cooler, I think.
Thank you. One of my life-changing inspirations was when I discovered Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Oh, okay.
And I was in my early 20s. And it was just completely opposite of the type of art I was doing at the time, which was just human figures, perfection, trying to perfect it, getting all the proportions right, practicing hands, feet, getting everything right, just drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. And I saw his art, which is just pure expression, just 100% expression. And it just really, really influenced me and changed my way of thinking. And I didn't want to be a full neo-expressionist in the way that he did it. I wanted to find my own path down that same style.
Yeah.
And I just spent years and years trying to explore my style and figure it out by continuously putting out pieces and practicing. But throughout my 20s and 30s, I started to suffer from depression and addiction and hand tremors.
Okay.
And so unsteady hands. And it started to affect my art. I spent almost 10 years without lifting a pencil, without doing one art piece.
Wow.
And I was kind of upset. I couldn't draw the straight lines I wanted to draw. I couldn't do the art that I wanted to do. And so I just gave up. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I decided to just embrace the shaky style, is what I call it.
That's pretty dope, man.
And so I just started drawing and going with the shakes, and it just turned out to look more sketchy. And all of that previous practice paid off. I still have the proportions right. I can still draw the piece that I want to draw, but instead of one good solid line, I'm just kind of sketching all over the place. Well, you take a step back and you look at it, and it gets the point across, the figure I'm trying to get across.
100%.
And it's really helped me stand out from other artists because of all the shaky lines and sketchiness, and I just found it. I finally found my style.
Yeah, well, I think you listened to your body, right? You followed the natural course of things.
That's right.
And then instead of, you did go through a time when you were kind of salty about it, right? But then once you accepted it, right? Now, if you've dealt with any addiction, I have to, that once you accept things, then you can start to make things right.
That's right.
So when you accepted that part of your anatomy, your physiology, you just accepted it and used it. And I think that's exactly what makes your pieces your pieces. In fact, I can see a William Bartlett painting, I know that it's you. Just from the look. Similar to Basquiat, right? Basquiat has his own style.
Yeah.
But so do you, and you can tell that it's very expressive. And that you also, like you have your own language almost.
Yeah.
You have your own symbols. There's a lot of symbology in your pieces. You want to say anything about that? Because you see some things show up a lot.
That's right.
Right.
So I do put a lot of symbols. Things are important to me. I will often put the Basquiat crown in my pieces, and that is just
Hat tip.
Yes, hat tip to him for all the influence, like that little hidden crown in there
I see
on
it
the
right
forehead.
there,
Yeah. But I won't always do it right, and but part of making expressive pieces is making images or symbols that people recognize and it already has a meaning. So as soon as you see it, you immediately get this emotion or this feeling. And so I like to put flowers. A lot of times it's a connection to nature, right? And I feel like that's very important. And then also like the leaves here, And in this symbol here with the X, and it looks like a crown, but it's actually a flame. This is something I picked up recently on a trip to Santa Fe, New Mexico that I went with my dad and his wife and my wife. And we went to all of these art galleries. Santa Fe is a huge art town.
Big
It
time,
was just amazing art. I was so inspired. But there's a very heavy Native American culture there. And so I had studied a lot of these indigenous symbols, and my favorite was this one, which is representative of home. It just means home.
Cool.
Campfires, so campfire is where the home is.
Right.
And so that, for me, that symbol I've been putting in a lot of my pieces because it's kind of the center of being mentally healthy, right? Emotionally healthy is finding a place where you can relax, you can rest, you can recuperate, you can heal, and you can feel safe, more importantly.
Right.
And for me, that's home. And so home is wherever that place is for you.
Right.
And me is literally at my home with my
Right.
family. And so it's that's where I go to recharge and keep going,
That's
keep
cool.
getting stronger.
That's cool. And like you pointed to these pieces that were behind us here. Another thing that I'm drawn to with your stuff is that it's all figure based. I'm pretty much everything that I've seen.
Yes.
And I love figure painting. That's my own. That's what I lean towards. I've always been attracted to that because I think the human story, like what other story is there? It's like humans are the most interesting things on the planet, in my opinion. And I love the expressiveness of how you show, how you portray human figures, faces. And I think that there's something about it that just draws you in. As a viewer, you want to stop and look at it. Whereas, no shade thrown to people who do animals and landscapes and stuff, but that doesn't do that for me.
Yeah. So for me, my target audience, is people, obviously.
Yeah.
And when you see, pieces of people, well, you connect to it immediately because you already have something in common. You're also a person.
Right.
And then when you throw in a little bit of past, emotional experiences, there's another connection to the piece. And I will often do my pieces, not always, but I will often do my pieces without clothes, people without clothes, because I'm trying to get away from fashion or what we wear, because that's not who we are. Who we are is on the inside. So another thing I try to get across with my pieces are the colors that I put in there or the expressive lines to illustrate that we're not just who we are on the outside. We're not who we are, is who we are on the inside. And so I like to feel like the colors I use, the expressive lines I use, those are the emotions we're going through at any time. If you were able to see people's emotions as they're walking down the street, it would look something like this.
Right.
There's just a lot of movement going on.
Yeah.
Just constantly going through emotions. And so that's I have a lot of experience doing human figures. And so when I went to art school for a while, I was in college for a while. I ended up dropping out. I wish I would have stayed in, but I took a lot of art classes, and several of them were human figure drawing. And so it was awkward at first, right? You're drawing a nude person live, and it was awkward several times. But once I got past that, I just realized how interesting the human form is, because you can tell a lot about people, not based on the shape of their body or what their body looks like, but their body language.
Right.
And so even a model just sitting there, you can almost already start to get to know them just by their body language of being perfectly still if you look at them long enough. And so that's why I really try to put that into my pieces. And like most artists, we're always growing, right? We're always gaining more experience. We're always getting better. And so there's a lot of areas in my pieces that I want to grow in, specifically with drawing human figures, a lot more action movements, getting hands out and, different angles and positions. And so I've been practicing that and doing a lot of that too.
Yeah. I see something you said just a minute ago about what's going on emotionally in the person. It reminded me of something I heard where, it seems like people are easily offended nowadays by others, every little thing. But if you think about it, most people really aren't paying attention to anything except themselves, right? And I'm victim of this myself, right? Because you're so wrapped up in your own brain. And that's when I see the heads, I feel that, like all the thoughts, all the ruminations, all the things, good and the bad, just flying through the head. And even though it's, a still picture, you feel that friction inside,
Yeah, and as far as the people being offended a lot more easily nowadays, obviously everybody's emotions and reactions to things are valid, but I feel personally that if you want to grow as a person, you have to look inward first, like you said, right?
For sure.
And see how you're taking other people's behaviors and how they're affecting you, and you have to kind of judge what's okay to handle, what's not okay to handle. But a big part of my pieces is individual people. So you look at the person, and when the reaction I want to put out is when you look at a piece, you start thinking about you, and what you got going on.
Oh yeah.
Because you fix yourself first, then you're less likely to offend people. And so I would like people to not focus so much on being offended, but on how to not offend other people. Because other people's feelings are very important. And so it's a long process. I have a lot of growth to do to not offend people. I'm a teaser. I grew up with brothers and a dad, likes to tease. So we always tease each other. But that can be really hurtful to some people. And so it's very important to, like in my past, I've accused people of being overly sensitive when in reality it was me and my behavior, and I could have been nicer. And so I've worked really hard over the years of being more sensitive and nice to other people. And it's worked out great. I've built great relationships with people that I otherwise wouldn't have had I not made those changes. And so at these pieces, it's really about taking time to reflect, because I like mixed media because I put a lot in there. It keeps people looking at the piece for a long while, and as you're looking and processing, without even knowing it, you're already thinking about things. You're thinking about how you're feeling, how it's making you feel, what does this mean? So when you start thinking, there's got to be a deeper meaning to that, well then you're already changing the way you're thinking, and you're thinking more deeply. It's like stopping to smell the roses, right? You're taking time to stop and process some deep thoughts that a lot of people don't give themselves time for, because everybody's rush, hurry, hurry. And when I make a piece, I almost always do every part of it based on how I'm feeling in the moment, the energy that's in the room, the energy that I'm feeling. So my studio, which is the office that I have in my house, is a disaster. It is a mess.
Awesome.
I mean, you're like stepping over stuff to get in there. My wife hates it. But when I go in there and I start the piece, like I'm standing in the middle of the room, I'm looking around, and I'm like, ooh, blue. And I'll grab blue, or I'll like, oh, look at this random piece of paper, and I'll tear it up and I'll glue it on there, or a piece of masking tape. These are old schematic drawings from my day job.
Cool.
And I'll put them in there. A lot of this paper is wasted and thrown away, so I like to bring some home and tear it up and kind of reuse it when I can. And so I like to get these random pieces and stuff, whatever I'm feeling. And so in that moment, I'm looking at all the stuff I have in my office, and I'm like, I'm feeling this, and I want to put it on there because that's what feels right in this moment. And I'll do it, and I'll put it on there, and that's how I base all of my decisions on what piece I'm going to do or whatever.
That's cool. I mean, that's if your goal is to make the viewer feel emotion, then you're nailing that. I mean, because you have emotion when you put into it. Right. And I think again, no shade thrown at abstract artists, but there's something a little more tangible with figures, at least for me. And I love the layers, because like you said, that piece that got my attention the very first time, and then all the subsequent ones I've seen since then. I stopped and I see the figure, the face or whatever I'm looking at, but then I see, oh, there's a old book page here or something, or here's a poem or whatever's underneath. It makes me want to dig a little deeper, and like you said, it gets me thinking about myself, right? Because that's what we tend to think about, and how it relates to you. So yeah, mission accomplished on that. I love. You use a lot of different things, right? It's not, because one thing I remember asking you is like, how do you do what you do? Because I couldn't quite tell. I wasn't sure if you're using watercolor or markers or Posca pens or acrylic paint, and I found out you use a little bit of everything, right? Mm-hmm. Can you speak to that a little bit? What kind of materials you use?
So it's been a long evolutionary process.
Sure.
For many years of deciding what I want to do. I had done abstract art for a very long time.
Really?
Because it's very expressive. My dad owned some property. I'd go out in the property. I'd put a big old canvas on the side of the shed that he had, and I would just fling paint, and just whatever I was feeling. Ooh, this color, just, or this one I want to brush it instead of splash it, so I'll brush it, And I got all of these emotions out and looking at it. Over time, that ended up evolving to me wanting to. I love abstract art. It's you can look at it, and you're trying to process the emotions that the artist was processing as they made it, and I like that. But me personally, I got to a point where I decided that I wanted to put a more specific message out than just random emotions. And so I started focusing on figures, putting some type of focal point in these pieces. And then as that evolved, I felt like the focal points that I was putting in these pieces weren't vibrant enough, weren't bright enough. They didn't stand out enough. I want you to look at the piece and enjoy all the mixed media, enjoy all of the chaos that's in the background, but I want you to focus on that bright, eye-catching piece in the middle, or whatever it may be. And so I started experimenting with different mediums, and different types of markers and paint and watercolors, and I wanted to never use something that's going to slow my flow of emotions or bottleneck whatever emotions I'm trying to get out in the moment, because I can lose that emotion quickly as I'm working on something, and then I start focusing on, well, why isn't this pen not working, or the Sharpie's not coming out as black as I want it to be, and then I'm focusing on that and I'm losing touch with my emotions.
Right.
And so I just started experimenting with different pieces, brushes. There's too many times you got to stop, interrupt, and dip, and so I don't like using brushes.
Right.
Watercolors do great for certain things that I want to get across. But what I'm feeling in the moment, this is why my my studio is chaos, because I'll look around and I got, alcohol Copic markers. I have Posca paint pens. I have just regular paint, whatever I'm feeling. And my favorite currently right now are Posca paint markers, because they're so bold, so vibrant, and you usually get a really good flow. You don't have to shake it too much. You can go continuously. But sometimes I want a brush, and I'll do a brush, or a real fine brush, And I like brushes sometimes because I can hold it right here in my fingers, and as I'm holding it, my hands are just really shaking, and I can just kind of go with the shakiness of my hand. That's and cool. I really like the line that comes out. But sometimes I want them a little bit more controlled, and I want to do sketch lines, so I'll get a Posca paint pen. So, like I said, whatever I'm feeling in the moment, but that's currently why I'm choosing these markers now, and typical groupings of tools that I'm using currently, because I feel like it's getting my point across how I want it the most.
Yeah, and when you were speaking about color, it made me think about something that I've also noticed about your pieces, at least a lot of them lately. And I will say, you go through kind of series, I've noticed, following you on Instagram, which I'll get to in a little bit later. But one thing that I really like is the red noses. Yeah. You see a lot of red noses. Is there any meaning behind that, or is it just something you like? I mean, because it always draws my attention right to the middle of the face, right?
So it's kind of exactly that reason, right?
Okay.
It immediately brings you straight to the center of the face, and then kind of moves out.
Yeah.
I choose red because it's kind of like a lot of this makes sense in my mind, and doesn't make sense out when I say it out loud.
That's all right.
But it's like a heat map, right, of a human body, right? The hottest parts, are like red, and then orange, and then yellow, and then on the extremities, maybe a little bit more of a bluish tint as you get cooler. So all that heat is like right in the center of your face, right, in your heart, in your chest. That's where you see those most vibrant, bright colors. And so that's why I'll start with a red nose, and then I usually do a little bit of orange around it, and then fade into yellow.
Yeah.
And I've got some blue around the edges. The
Yeah, it's
face.
usually the primary colors are around, the blues and the yellows. Yeah.
But I go through these phases of series because, so it's funny, right? 3 years ago, I decided to embrace my shaky hands, and I did this little drawing of a skull, and I posted it on TikTok, and it got a lot of attention, that original video. And so I just started doing more pieces of just shaky little sketches, and it was doing really well, and I did that for about a year, and my followers grew. But more important than the followers, my follower count growing, were who my followers were. I got several comments, several reach outs, several DMs talking about shaky hands as well. Also, other problems that they're going through. They like that drawing is cathartic for me. What can I do? Or what do you think of this piece that I did? And so I really started to interact with lots of people and helping as many people as I could, and that's what I really love.
That's cool.
And so, trying to stay true to the purpose of my art, of tapping into my emotions, right? Going with how I feel, the direction the universe is taking me, or whatever, right? I had learned as growing my social media accounts, best way to probably do it as an artist is to pick a style, stick to the style, always do the same style, and only post that style of artwork on your page, and that consistency will help you grow. And I just decided that I don't care about that, and I don't want to do that. I'm always going to do whatever I feel like I'm doing.
Yeah, man.
And so I'm just, if I feel like doing something outside of my regular style, I'm going to do it. If I want to do a hyperrealism piece one day, I will. If I want to do a landscape, I'll do it. I used to do cityscapes a lot.
Really?
More detailed windows and everything.
Cool.
And if I want to do that, I'll do it. It's just whatever I feel like I want to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so you'll see these little series that are not really intentional, but they are. It's just I have this inspiration, I want to get it out, and sometimes it takes 6 pieces to get it out, and then I move on to something else, or whatever I'm feeling next.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's only 3 pieces, so you'll see these weird little spurts of series on my page, and that's just what I'm liking at the time.
Yeah.
And overall, it's helped my exposure and growth because I'm bringing in different types of people who like different types of art.
Right, right.
And so it's like little groups of followers that all add up to a big group of followers. And again, the reason why having a lot of followers is important to me is because I want to spread that message that art is cathartic for me. Something out there can be cathartic for you.
Yeah.
And it's very important for everybody to find what that cathartic hobby is. Because if you don't do anything, it's going to bottle up and it's going to kill you.
Right. Find your thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, one of the series that really captivated me, it was their Angels series. You've done a lot of Angels.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about that. Where did that come from? What is inspiring you to do that? And
So I am a very religious person. I don't often share this.
Amen.
Or share my religious beliefs with people. And so I kind of keep it to myself. A lot of my art is dark because I am processing old dark emotions that I used to have. There's a period of time where I stopped going to church and I stopped praying, and it was one of the worst times of my life. And I fell into an addiction, and it took a long time to get out of that and to find natural joy again. And it was a very difficult process. But once I got out of it, it was going back to church again, praying again. These are the things that helped me make good decisions, and these good decisions led to more happiness.
Amen. Yeah.
And so I just recently have been feeling a lot of inspiration to do what is so important to me, and that's more religious pieces. And so keeping it simple, just doing little angels, is just a way for me to get it out, to give thanks to God for everything that He's helped me accomplish and conquer and get over. And anybody else out there who feels the same way will enjoy those pieces.
Well, okay, so personal testimony too, myself. Like, I'm a new Christian. I've been a Christian for a couple of years now. And it saved me at a time when I was ready to not be here anymore. But I got pulled out of that miry clay. And I've been introduced to different artists that have kind of captured that feeling. And yours is one of them. Like, when I saw the angels, like, is this guy a Christian? I mean, man, he's doing a lot of angels. And not just, and non-traditional ones too. Like, you see a lot of angels. There was one like curled up in the fetal position. There's some that look like they're contemplative or maybe sad even.
Yeah, so the point of those pieces, and specifically the positions they're in, is just a feeling of being cramped in this world, right? Yeah, and even angels suffer. You know, they suffer alongside us, right? And so these pieces are more representative of guardian angels, right? The belief that every person has a personal angel looking out for them. So if you're going through a tough time, your angel is too. And so if you're feeling trapped, which I felt trapped in my last job for many, many years, and I felt like I was never going to be able to escape. And I know that my angel is out there feeling it too. Yeah. And so it's a reminder that you're not alone. You know, you don't have to go through it alone. Those moments of feeling like you are alone, like you said, can lead you to some really dark places. And I've been there too. Very glad you made it out of that. Amen. And I know it's a divine influence that helped me crawl out.
Yeah. Not only that, but it says that what the enemy meant for evil, God turns into good. And like, you're talking about your shaky hands, trying to get you down. And he had you down for a minute, right? But then you found a way to embrace it. And then, man, I mean, all things work together for good for those who love God, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people believe that God will make bad things happen so you can grow from it. But I believe that just like we have divine influences, angelic influences, right, revelations, the opposite is true with the adversary, right? There are dark emotions that influence us to make terrible mistakes and terrible decisions, which can lead to our unhappiness. And so the bad things I feel that happen in this world are, just being subject to the human condition. We're here on this earth. Things are just going to happen because we're on earth, in physical bodies. And then there's those dark influences as well that influence a lot of things. So I don't believe God makes anything bad happen in your life. No. Bad things just happen, right? That's the whole purpose of this life, is a test for us, right?
It's a fallen world.
But these terrible things that happen, God will always provide an opportunity to get out or to grow from it, or a silver lining, that you can find. And like you said, just human condition, start getting hand tremors, feel like it's a terrible thing, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And this is just one example of how I was able to turn lemons into lemonade, right?
Absolutely. Right.
So,
and I think that's the whole point, because if you think about the times that you've made the most progress, you've learned the most, that you've felt the most accomplished. Has it been when everything was super perfect and easy? No.
Of course not.
It's always when you go through the hard times, right?
Adversity is the best teacher.
Amen. Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I wanted to ask you too, your Instagram reels, I've noticed a lot of process videos. Do you use Procreate sometimes?
Yes.
Okay, and so how do you translate that into your paintings? Or is that a separate thing? Because I like watching the process. Yeah. It's very fun to watch.
So again, sometimes it's what I'm feeling, right? I like the texture of the iPad and the iPencil, Apple Pencil. And so sometimes I have a piece that I want to do on that, so I'll do it. And then sometimes there's something I want to get out and I want to do it, but I don't want to use that. And so I'll go and I'll draw it. Yeah. And so it all depends what I'm feeling in the moment. So I do like Procreate. There's times that I don't want to mess around with getting a certain texture that's going to appear with the paint that you use on whatever piece that you're putting it on, right? So if you put some yellow on a canvas, well, sometimes you can still see the canvas texture. Right. So sometimes I don't want any texture.
Yes. Right. You don't want to see the little divots of the.
And so that's when I'll do digital art.
That's cool.
And so if there is texture that I want in there, I can add that as well and have it be more controlled. But oftentimes I enjoy the texture of whatever that I'm drawing on or painting on, and so.
Yeah, that bodes well for your layers too. because I know it's something so simple of masking tape, man. It's just
Yeah.
it just adds another element to it. It's really cool. I like that. It's inspiring, you know. As an artist, you know, I like other artists who inspire me to do things and to try different things. It's pretty cool.
Well, I feel it's important as an artist that all artists should always push the limit. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone. Try something new. So Procreate and digital art is something that's very new to me. I just started, you know, earlier or mid last year.
Okay.
So everyone was on, but I had never done a digital piece of art in my life, and I wanted to learn. I saw people do it. I thought it was cool, so I just bought an iPad and I just started experimenting and trying to figure it out. And so, you know, if there's a style that I haven't tried, I want to try it because you never know. And this is how people can find what their cathartic hobby might be, trying things you never tried before. So, for example, my wife has never done woodworking or any type of hobby, you know, physically active hobby, power tools, stuff like that, ever in her life. But several years ago, actually, she decided to just start making small things. She thought it'd be interesting, so she decided to make a little mug holder. And you got these little hooks, and she put a little mug, and she screwed, you know, the wood together and everything, and she really enjoyed it. So then she decided to do a bigger project, and she did a bench, you know, that goes outside in the front. And so she figured out, she looked up on YouTube, you know, how to do it, and she just made this big bench and painted it and everything, and it was great. And then she wanted to tackle something big, and so she asked me to help her build a dining table. And it was a big, massive dining table, and we built that together, worked on it together. I can do woodworking, but I don't like it.
Okay.
And it's just one of, I've, you know, worked with my hands all of my life. I'm very handy because my dad is very handy, so he taught me at a young age how to be handy, use tools. So I taught her everything that I knew, which maybe wasn't much, but I taught her everything I knew, and she just ran with it. And she just kept learning new things and new big furniture pieces and whole bed frames, and she has big entertainment centers. It's just now she's at the point where she can do anything.
That's awesome.
Anything at all, and it's just amazing. And she never would have thought in a million years that would have been her thing.
Right.
And she would never have known had she not tried something that seemed so out of her scope.
Right.
You know, and she tried it. And so I'm always going to be trying new things. Even if I think I'm good at something, I'm going to continue trying new things constantly.
That's cool.
And so I want to try digital art. I tried oil painting. So I'm at the point in my life where I have tried, I feel like, most types of art. And so that's why my style is so weird, right? Because it's just a kind of a mixture of evolved tastes of all different styles.
Well, I think that's what makes it really interesting too. I mean, because it is all those things. It's not just drawing, but it's painting, and it's color, and it's textures, and it's collage, and it's layers, and it's a lot of those things. But it all comes together into something that's recognizable and emotive, and it hits you.
Yeah.
So you're doing
Thank
it
you.
right? And that's
Thanks.
a lesson to you kids at home,
Yeah.
right? To try new things, right?
Yeah.
Try lots of stuff. That's cool, man. I love it. At the end of these talks, I like to ask some people some lightning round questions, some quick things, right? This kind of gives us. Did you ever play Would You Rather as a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's similar to that, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. You just give me the off the top of your head answer, and we'll see what that says about you. We'll all make judgments. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was playing. Okay, ready? Okay. So the first one is coffee or tea?
Neither.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So no caffeine for you then, huh?
So currently I'm completely caffeine free.
Wow.
But I used to drink a lot of coffee when I was in the military and I was younger. And then energy drinks after that for a very long time.
Okay.
But I've recently cut all caffeine out of my system, and I've learned now, after cleansing my body and drinking plenty of water, I have found my own natural energy.
Really?
Just getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, and you got all the energy you need. I work long 10-hour days physically, you know, and I make it through, and I go to the gym too, and it's all with natural energy.
I'm jealous. I heard Michael Pollan, you know who he is, the writer, he wrote the Omnivore's Dilemma, I think.
Okay.
He wrote a book about pharmacology, psychedelics and stuff, and he said the most potent psychedelic out there is caffeine, but you have to go without it for a long, long time. And then that first cup of coffee he'd had after like 6 months of nothing just like sent him to the moon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish I could do no caffeine. Maybe that'll be on my list of things to try. All right, so we only got through one question so far, but we're going to get through the rest of them. All right, red or blue?
Red.
Red, all right. Reference or no reference?
Both.
Both, all right,
Well,
okay.
Like I said, I don't often limit things, right?
Yeah.
You know, so whatever I'm feeling.
Right. What are you feeling right now?
So are you in reference to
Yeah,
art?
yeah.
Are you talking about like doing art
Yeah,
pieces?
yeah.
Okay,
Like, do you typically look at do you look at a reference photo? I usually do.
I'll often be inspired by references
Yeah.
and other people's styles. But sometimes I'm taking a shower and an idea pops in my head. I'm like, oh, try to remember it. As I get out of the shower, I'll just sketch something nasty, like a real ugly, messy on a Post-it note. And then later, whenever that weekend I get a chance to do the piece, I'll get that sticky note and remember my idea.
Awesome.
And so it all depends.
Cool. Right on. That's fair enough. All right. Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
All right. Pencil or paintbrush?
Pencil.
Pencil. Right on. Plan or no plan?
If I had to choose one, no plan.
Okay. All right. I would say that. I'm looking
Yeah.
at your stuff. I would say that. Let's see. Sign the front or the back?
Sign the front or the back? I always sign the front.
Sign the front. All right. Soda or Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid.
All right. Drinking the Kool-Aid. Morning or night?
I'm not a morning person, but I choose the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Cream or no cream?
Is this coffee again? So when I used to drink coffee, I'm a whole lot of sugar, a whole lot of cream kind of guy.
Okay,
Right? There was a stigma of that not being very manly, right? But if you watch the movie Pulp Fiction, you have the wolf who comes to clean up the murder, right?
Right.
And he comes in as a real tough guy, and he's like, lots of cream, lots of sugar. I was like, yes, that guy's a man, and he has cream and he has sugar.
Yeah.
So
No shame in the cream.
I wasn't ashamed of it.
Yeah, no shame in the cream, man. I need to take that bitterness out of it. I need to calm it down a little bit. Instagram or no Instagram?
Instagram.
Right on. People, places, or things?
People.
Amen. Create with music or without music?
With music, big
Okay.
time.
What do you listen to typically? I mean, probably.
So it depends on the piece, but it's kind of embarrassing. But I'll often put on some type of sad music.
Okay.
Yeah, and something to get the emotions to come out,
All right.
But it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I like to play Linkin Park, and then that'll just get me going and get me in the mood. And there is a lot of emotion in Linkin Park songs.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so a lot of these rock songs, you'll have some deep emotion. So whatever can get the emotion out.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll just listen to soft, sad music, right?
Well, when you said embarrassing, I thought you were going to say like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or something like that.
No,
then I would have laughed a little bit.
Nothing against them, but not my style.
No. All right. Work large or small?
Both.
Both?
Yeah,
Okay.
both. I mean, I used to strongly believe in that saying, go big or go home, right? Big piece, Or if you can't do it good, then do it big, right? But I like small pieces. Some ideas look good on a small piece. You can draw something on a receipt, it looks great. You can do something on a massive canvas, and that's what it was meant for.
Right on.
So
Okay. One painting at a time or many at a time?
I am a one painting at a time type of person.
Really?
Yeah.
Start to finish, all
Yeah.
one?
Most
Wow.
artists have tons of unfinished projects, but I cannot do another project until I finish the one I'm on.
Right on.
Because it's all about getting the idea out.
Okay.
And once it's out, I can't evolve to the next idea unless I finish that current idea. So
That's cool. I haven't met many people like you.
yeah,
That's something to hang
I
out
told you
on.
I'm weird.
Yeah, hey, that's cool. Awesome. Well, this has been great, William. I'm really appreciative that you came in and talked to me. And again, thank you to Julie and the Ardest Gallery. In fact, let's talk a little bit about the Ardest Gallery, where people can find your work. So we're here in the Woodlands at the Ardest Gallery.
I just have a very special place in my heart for this gallery. I really love this gallery. I love the way my pieces fit in this gallery, especially amongst all these other amazing artists. I love the colors of the walls, the colors of the gallery itself, the colors of all the other pieces, and it just fits in so well, but stands out as well. And so I love it, and so I want to give all of my attention to this gallery.
Awesome.
And I'm having a great time. But mostly, my art just can be found online.
Online, right.
I like to jot something out and post it online.
Awesome. And so to follow William online, you can go to Instagram at Art by William Bartlett.
That's
Right, and we'll put this on the screen so you can see it.
And
Same
you
thing on TikTok,
Take
right?
a picture of that guy right there.
Oh, right
so you
on.
can get the spelling.
Right on, yes. The same handle on TikTok, right? Yeah. All right, cool. Awesome. Well, go follow William. William, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, brother.
Thanks for having
coming
me.
in. All right, we'll see you next time. Peace.